facial, one of these three women says, look in your refrigerator. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Riquette Hofstein.
Number two.
My name is Riquette Hofstein.
Number three.
My name is Riquette Hofstein.
Only one of these people is the real Riquette Hofstein, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur, Orson Bean. Actress and recording star, Gloria Loring. Film and television producer, David Niven Jr. And from a current affair columnist, Cindy Adams. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Burton. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our show. I've asked my boss, Mark Goodson, to join me front and center today for two reasons. First of all, Mark, I want to thank you. I've heard that you have done a marvelous job substituting for me for the past two shows here on To Tell the Truth. Do I still have a job?
As a matter of fact, Alex, I tell you, I have your paycheck here because I did half the week. Here's half.
All right, well, I'll give you something in return. I'll give you this cigar. The reason the cigar is so big, ladies and gentlemen, is that about 2 hours and 7 minutes ago, I delivered my first child, a son, 15 pounds, 8 pounds, 15 and a half ounces. Worthy of the cigar. Thank you, Mark, you very much, Eric. All right. So if I'm a little nervous, you will have to forgive me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good morning, panel.
Morning.
Are you ready to go to work?
Let's go to work.
Okay, let's get to the story represented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Riquette Hofstein. Here's her story. I, Riquette Hofstein, am a beauty consultant who doesn't mind getting a little egg on her face, or mashed bananas, or sometimes even a little horseradish. I don't spend big bucks on my beauty products. I whip them up in my kitchen. For instance, make a quick facelift by spreading some strawberry jello on your cheeks. You can grind eggshells to make a great face powder. Fresh corn is an excellent moisturizer. And here's my recipe for a face mask. Grind 2 cups of cat litter in a blender, mix with egg whites, and apply to face and scalp. It's the cat's meow. And in my latest book, Grow Hair in 12 Weeks, I advise my readers to mix up a sluffer cocktail, a concoction of vodka, aspirin, Alka-Seltzer, and cayenne pepper. But remember, don't swallow it. Just rub it in. Signed, Riquette Hofstein. And we'll be back with this natural Wonder Woman right after this.
Introducing Suzuki 00 and...
All that may make the difference.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. All right, panel, these three people all claim to be Riquette Hofstein, whose recipes will help you grow hair. Cindy, let's start the questioning with you.
Number one, you are a facialist also, and to grow hair in 12 weeks, you don't mean on your face.
No, it's on the hair. I do hair and skin.
I see. Number two, someone once put a salad on my face, cucumber, and it started to draw. What are the properties of cucumber?
I think because of the alcohol in the cucumber, it's just a little too strong for the skin.
I see. Number three, why strawberry jello as against cherry jello?
Well, strawberries brings blood to your skin. It's very good as a mask.
Forget about skin products. I'm getting hungry. David.
Yes, I am too, as a matter of fact. I want to stay with this cocktail because I'm fascinated by this. It's number one. It's called a slaughter. What's it called?
A sluffer cocktail.
A sluffer cocktail. Now, if I don't want hair on my head, but I like it on my chest, could I rub it on my chest? Would that work better?
You can try. You never know. You might be lucky.
I might be lucky. Okay, just checking. Number two, staying with, who do you sell this product to?
Well, I have clients like yourself, celebrities, that come to me. I have people who have hair problems, loss of hair, and those are the people that come to me.
Do you make a good living, number 3, with this profession?
Very good.
Or is it more of a joke?
Oh, sorry. Let's go to Gloria.
And number 3, how long does it take to give a facial?
It depends, 30 minutes to an hour.
30 minutes to an hour. Number 1, if I put avocados, a mashed up avocado on my skin, what will that do, or what kind of skin might I be trying to help?
Avocado is a good cleanser for the skin, but watch out, it will give you a lot of vitamin E.
Number 2, what would you put on if I have very dry skin? What sort of thing could I whip up at home?
For a very dry skin, I would use milk.
Milk.
Yes.
Hey, Orson.
Number 1, do you sleep overnight with the cat litter and the egg white on your face?
No, you just leave it for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, because otherwise I have a cat. He'd be in there like a shot. Number 3, now the grinding eggshells to make a powder would take you hours to grind eggshells. Wouldn't it? It'll take a long time. I mean, it's cheaper to go and buy the powder, isn't it?
Oh, no, it doesn't take hours. You actually have to wash, dry. You don't do it all at once.
Yeah.
Because you have to dry before you grind them.
All right, number 2, the corn. How do you put the corn on you for the moisturizer?
Okay, what you do is that you take the corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you scale the corn off,
Yeah.
okay? And then what you do is you put it in the blender, and the juice that comes out of that, then you put it on the face. You just pat it on
Well,
your
you
face.
must smell like a garden, number 2.
Well, it smells
right?
sweet.
Smells sweet.
Oh, is that it? All
Isn't
right.
that a lovely note on which to end the questioning?
Yes, indeed.
Panel, it's time for you to vote right now. Who do you think the real Riquette Hofstein is? Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3? Our team of challengers will receive $500, of course, for each incorrect vote, with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panel is fooled completely, the team will receive $3,000. Ready to go, Cindy?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, Daddy.
Thank you.
Number 1 said Hofstein. Number 2 said Hofstein. Number 3 said Riquette Hofstein. Number 3, Miss Fraulein Hofstein.
Number 3 gets a vote for pronunciation. David.
Number 1 rather looks just great, so I assume, therefore, that's real person using this bizarre cocktail, so I go for number 1.
Actually, I feel you voted for number 1 because she's the lady who told you how to get lucky. Gloria, over to you.
Anyway,
Number 2 and number 3 both had very positive, strong answers. Number 1 knew about the avocados being not good for oily skin, so I'm going to go with that because you use avocados to moisturize a dry skin.
Orson?
They're all beautiful. I mean, I think 2 and 3 use one stuff. One could sell anybody. In the old days, in a covered wagon, she would have been selling Dr. Farnsworth parsnip nectar and liver emulsion.
Number 1. All right, let's review the voting. We have 3 votes for number 1, none for number 2, and 1 vote for number 3. It's time now to find out who the real beauty guru is. Will the real Riquette Hofstein please stand up? And it is number 1. So 3 members of our panel got it right. Riquette, I believe you concocted something for me many years ago, and I haven't kept track of your career since then. How are things going for you? Are people really getting into this?
Wonderful. Yes, People magazine have been very good to me, gave me a 2-page write-up, and David Letterman, I did it 15 times. And
Well, are you constantly experimenting with new fruits,
Yes.
new vegetables?
Yes, I'm a biochemist, and in my clinic in Beverly Hills, I do all natural facials and hair and scalp treatments because I had very bad skin and very bad hair. So that's how I actually started when I was 12.
Okay, well, nice having you here with us.
Thanks.
Let's meet the imposters. Number 2, who are you?
My name is Candace Bowen, and I'm a yoga teacher.
Yoga teacher. That's how you stay looking so good. Number 3, you got 1 vote. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Raisa Danilova, and I'm the Russian interpreter.
A Russian interpreter. Well, spasiba.
Пожалуйста.
Ladies, there was only 1 incorrect vote, and that means the team receives the $1,000 guarantee, and we want to thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. It was fun. And when we come back, we'll have the first man to fly around the world solo in a seaplane after this.
connect, and collect with Game Show Network's interactive block. At 10, the new word game lingo. At 10:30, friend or foe. And at 11, Russian roulette. Log on to GameShowNetwork.com for details. Game Show Network's interactive block, weeknights from 10 to 11:30.
We're back, and you're about to meet our next group of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Tom Casey.
Number 2.
My name is Tom Casey.
Number 3.
My name is Tom Casey.
All right, panel, time for you to go to work. I'll read the affidavit. I, Tom Casey, am the first man to fly around the world in a seaplane. During my flight, I took off and landed on rivers, lakes, and oceans, never once on dry land. I set out from Seattle on the anniversary of Lindbergh's historic flight, but I had to turn back when I was denied clearance to land in Russia. I went back and started out again, in the opposite direction. I flew around the coastline of the United States. I touched down in Greenland and Iceland, headed south to Europe, and then the Middle East. I flew over the war zone and on through Asia. Finally, I arrived back in Seattle. My trip was full of surprises. I underwent back surgery in Saudi Arabia, had to pay $10,000 to get through India, and in the North Pacific, my engine quit, and I was forced to make an emergency landing. Fortunately, a fishing boat rescued me at sea, and I'm here today to tell my story. Signed, Tom Casey. An adventure that turned out well, and we'll start the questioning with you, Orson.
Thanks, Alex. You had an adventure that turned out well, too, didn't you? Congratulations. Thanks. Number 2, did you land in any places where the local populace had never seen a seaplane?
Oh, there were quite a few places where they had never seen a plane at all.
Number 3, what was the weirdest reaction you had to landing in someone's river or lake?
Well, usually it was the way the population would come out and see us in one of those weird places. It was quite gratifying to see the interest that people would have.
Number 1, what about where you had to pay 10 grand in India? Was it why did you have to? Was something go wrong with the plane or what?
Just plain corruption.
Corruption. Ah.
Graft.
Oh, yes, I can understand that.
For shame, Gloria.
Number 2, when you had to make the emergency landing, what was the problem?
My engine seized up.
Okay. Number 3, how long were you floating around before they rescued you?
11 hours, as a matter of fact.
11 hours. And did you have some rations with you?
I've carried rations to complete the flight, so I had plenty of food and water.
And you did. All right. Number 1, when you had back surgery in Saudi Arabia, why did you suddenly have to stop at that point? What happened?
I just ruptured a disc.
And you had to have it done right then, right there?
Yes.
Were you afraid of
Lower body was going numb.
Ah, that's a good reason, yes.
That's a very good reason to have back surgery. David?
Thank you. Number 1, it says here that you had to turn back as you were denied clearance to land in Russia. At what stage of this trip did you discover this bad news?
Actually, in Anchorage, Alaska.
In Anchorage. Number 2, why would you not have checked this out before leaving Anchorage?
Well, originally we had the clearances, but when we got up to Alaska, they decided that there were insurmountable problems. They wouldn't let us go through Russia.
All right. Number 3, what was the real reason that they gave you for not letting you go through across the USSR?
We felt it was strictly political. Their answer to us was insurmountable problems.
Okay, number 1, how many...
Time for that, Cindy.
Number 1, how do you keep yourself awake when you're a one-man crew?
You develop a routine, cockpit check.
Number 2, what do you do with the plane when you have to go to the John?
Well, you time your water intake so that that's not a problem. Never had to have that problem while I was in the air.
Should happen to me. Number 3, which war zone did you fly over?
Actually, the Saudi Arabia area.
You mean as...
I was there when it took place, when the war started, and I had to get special clearance to fly actually over the war area.
I see. Number 1, how...
We won't have time for any more questions, but it's time now for all 4 of you to cast your ballots. Who is the man who flew around the world in the seaplane? Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or is it number 3? Orson, for whom did you cast your vote?
Tom Casey, number 1, has the look of the Hibernian about him. He looks, I don't know if he's made the Guinness Book of Records, but he looks like he's dipped into a few pots of Guinness in his day. And...
I see. He's a harpy.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, Gloria.
Well, thought 2 and 3 too started to have a feeling that I might vote for him. But that one, there's something about one, a quietness and a self-possessed quality.
David?
Well, I was going to go for number 2, but then he sort of threw me off this bit about going to the bathroom on the plane and timing his water intake, and I didn't buy that. So I went with number 1, who looked like a definite loner who would do this very adventuresome trip.
Number 1 looks like a loner.
Could it be
Cindy?
a clean sweep? Number 2 may have the greatest kidneys in captivity, but I'm not sure about his flying a plane, and number 1 is definitely a Casey. 1.
Definitely a Casey. All right, the votes are in, and it is unanimous. All of our panelists voted for number 1. So let's find out who the real flying sailor is. Will the real Tom Casey please stand up? The panel was right. All 4 of our panelists got it right, Tom. Tell us about the trip. Now, what about the water intake and timing it for things like that? I'm sure they're interested.
Basically, what he was saying is true, that the one thing you have to be careful of is the average flight was about 8 to 8.5 hours. Dehydration is critical. And I worked it out long before on long flights across the country where I could consume 3 cans of pop, or if you're from the East Coast, 3 cans of soda. I take one probably an hour after takeoff, one in the middle of the flight, and one just a half hour before I'd land, so I wouldn't be dehydrated.
All right, you've done?
But when I did land, I had to go to bed, yes.
I bet you did. You've done this. Yes. What's next on your agenda?
It remains to be seen. There'll always be something, but I'm in a process right now of dictating into a tape, so I can write a book in the very near future.
Okay. Movie soon. Let's find out who our imposters are. Number 2, tell us about yourself.
My name is Jim Flood, and I'm a professional tennis umpire.
And number 3, who are you, sir?
My name is Pat Moorhead, and I own the Chi-Chi nightclub in Santa Ana, California, home of the world-famous California Girls.
Yep. Well, Tom got all the votes, so the team receives the $1,000 guarantee. And gentlemen, we thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth.
Thank you.
And we'll be back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience right after this.
In India, they call it... In Spain, it's...
Decisión final.
In Hong Kong... But no matter how they say it, they all have one thing in common. The drop. On Monday, October 14th, Russian Roulette launches all new episodes with a 3-hour marathon, including highlights from around the globe. It's The Drop, heard round the world Monday, October 14th from 9 to midnight, only on Game Show Network. Brought to you by Discover Card. It pays to discover.
With aloe vera.
Now it's time to play one-on-one with somebody from our studio audience. Burton, who have you got today?
Well, Alex, today I'd like you to meet a man who's from Chatsworth, California. His name is James Height, and he goes by Jim.
Hello, Jim. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Here's a chance for you to play one-on-one and make some money. First, let me introduce a young man with 2 stories to tell. Let's welcome Ryan Kaiser. Jim, Ryan's going to tell us 2 stories, only one of which happens to be true. If you spot the true story, you'll earn $500 in cash. Ryan, what's your first story, please?
I'm a trumpet player. I won first place in the Louis Armstrong trumpet competition.
May or may not be true. Let's listen to his second story, Jim.
I'm from Sioux City, Iowa. Last summer, I grew a summer squash that weighs more than I do.
2 stories. All right, to assist you in winning the $500, each member of our panel gets 1 question. We'll start off with the winner of the Louis Armstrong trumpet competition, Cindy.
How do you blow if your lips are chapped?
It's usually not a problem.
David?
What musical composition did you play in order to win this competition?
A Night in Tunisia.
Gloria?
What's the name of the position of your mouth as a trumpet player?
Embouchure.
Orson?
I have the great joy to know Louis Armstrong. Did you sing as well as play?
No.
All right, so much for the Louis Armstrong trumpet competition. Now, our second story, the fact that this young man grew a squash that weighs as much as he does. Cindy?
Was it a hybrid, a mutation, or a botanical freako?
It was a botanical freako.
David?
Cindy and I both have gardens, and we were curious, what type of manure did you use to grow this enormous
I have
squash?
a special fertilizer that I put together.
That he put together. Gloria?
Exactly how much did this squash weigh?
174 pounds.
Ah!
Orson?
I had a cousin in Vermont, Alex, that grew a huge kumquat, but it turned on him. It was a nasty... does your squash do anything but just sit there, or just lies? Well, you should have used it.
All right, so much for the questioning. Jim, you've heard our cross-examination. Does Ryan play the trumpet, or did he grow that big squash?
I believe that he probably grew the squash.
Ryan, what's your true story?
To tell the truth, I played the trumpet.
And he won the Louis Armstrong competition. Sorry, Jim, you were wrong, but we have a nice gift for you backstage. And to Ryan Kaiser, $1,000 for stumping our man in the audience. And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get a sample of Ryan performing on his trumpet right after this.
It's okay.
Want to buy a vowel? They're going fast on Wheel of Fortune next. After that, it's Jeopardy, hosted by Alex Trebek. And then, win, lose, or draw.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the prize-winning trumpet playing of Ryan Kaiser. He's all of 17 years old. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, on To Tell the Truth. We'll see you again next time.
This is Burton Richardson speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson television production.